Hello viewer, this is vlog day 10, 7/8, 2014. If I speak with a bit of a lisp, at least more of one, it's because I'm wearing my retainer tonight. Just because I didn't want to have to go and put it in after the video, which is what I was going to do. Put it in, read, go to sleep. That's what I usually do after the vlog. But I'm trying out with the retainer in this time. Might actually force me to enunciate better. Let's do a nose touching thing. So last night I talked about all the stuff that I wanted to talk about, and then I went into like a lot into like deep stuff about me. And I probably got a little more emotional than I intended to. Just kind of stuff that happens. Um, Last night was a bit of the past. Tonight, I guess I'm going to talk a bit about the future, at least um, the plan, I guess. But first, work today. Um, Not an early day, Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually not very bad, but then they're usually pretty slow at a Walmart because it's Tuesday. Um, so the boss usually try and find other things for you to do that aren't your normal work, like making sure everything is spotless, clean, and organized, and then just shifting you around your departments if your department's slow and another one needs more work done. Uh, I changed out chairs yesterday because the other one was squeaky, and I got this little collapsible mushroom chair from church. It was locked in a room with the tripod that I'm using. But I brought it home so I could use it. It's more comfortable if I'm like this. And I'm not sure what angle the camera's pointing at me, but it's not generally very flattering, and it sort of makes you want to sleep a little bit, relax more. I like it more like this, so that more focus is on me and I stay more on topic. Um, Today was the first day I drove my new car to work, and when we were at the dealership, it had a low tire pressure thing, a little light on. And at work today, I discovered that the low tire pressure was because one of the tires had a leak in it, a big leak. Uh, Apparently, it went completely flat while I was at work. May have actually gone completely flat when I was at home, and I might have driven to work with it completely flat and not noticed. I hope that's not the case. It was probably just low pressure, and then it went completely flat when I was at work. Um, right now, the rear passenger tire is completely flat, and okay. So the way I found out about it was that somebody left a note on my car uh, that basically said they parked next to me and saw that I had a flat tire and decided to air it up, which was nice of them. And if I was a customer and was just about to come out of the store, it would have been great because I would have gotten the note, I would have had a full tire, and I would have been able to go home with a full tire. But I work at Walmart, so I was apparently out of the store hours after the note had been left, and the tire was going flat again. It was completely flat. But I had to go back in the store to get grocery kind of stuff, so I uh, managed to get an air compressor, maybe the only cheap one in the store, and air up the tire so I could get home on it. And gonna have my dad take it back to the dealership or Walmart or whatever, someplace where they can uh, get the tire patched, so that I won't have to worry about reinflating it every day, twice a day, I guess. Uh, but yeah, so just got the car yesterday, having to fix the tire today. Nice. Uh, but I'm not going to be taking it in tomorrow. I'm going to have my dad do it because I have to go to work tomorrow and he doesn't. Uh, so I'm going to take the truck again. He's going to take the car, the Santa Fe, and hopefully when I get home, the vehicle will be fixed. Uh, yeah. Oh, today I was reading at lunch, and I was reading the Bible at breakfast or before work started because I got in early enough to read my Bible then, and I took a short lunch because I'm going to be off on Friday and Saturday for youth camp. Uh, so I'm gonna be losing 8 hours on the work week with Friday off. I've already got overtime on from Saturday and some overtime from today because I took a short lunch and I clocked in a little bit early and I clocked out a little bit late. Which are things I'm allowed to do as long as I don't go overtime. Since I'm losing 8 hours, I'm not going overtime. I kept reading in Exodus where they when I left off, they'd already crossed the Red River, the Red Sea. They're in the Middle East, not here in Oklahoma. And what I read today was the manna from heaven, I believe, and fighting the Amalek people, who this is the first time out of Egypt that the Israelites form a battle group, a war party, and see there seems like before or after the Israelites complain to Moses about being thirsty, so God tells them to hit a rock with a staff, and he does that, and they get water. There's another place where they have bitter water, and they turn it sweet. Okay. The battle group thing. This is where Moses tells Joshua to select people for the battle group and go out and Moses has to have a couple of guys hold up his arms with the staff in it because the Israelite army will only prevail as long as Moses' arms are up because he's praising God. It's the rules God made. So as long as your arms are up, the Israelites will prevail. So, Moses had a couple people hold his arms up so they'd stay up, and the Israelites won the day, defeated the Amalekites. And God said that the Amalekites will always be defeated by Israel, which Joshua has to fight them more in the future, and they win. So, yeah. There's also this weird thing where, like, as I'm reading through Exodus, it seems a lot like Moses has this weak personality. The the Israelites come to him with arguments, and he says, God, yeah, he does stuff. Why are you complaining to me? And he goes to God with their complaints, and God says, do this. And he goes out. Sometimes he says to God, I don't know if I should do that. He says, well, go talk to Aaron. And I guess, like, stuff works out even though he's got this really weak personality. It's just strange because you don't think of Moses as someone with a weak personality. because you're not really portrayed like that. Uh, but yes, he sounds a lot like he has a weak personality in the Book of Exodus. Uh, yeah, so I wanted to say about that. And then during lunch, I was reading the connection book, where we get to the fifth kind of connection, which is availability. I think earlier I said there were 5 connection points, and that's what I thought, because if there's more than 3 or something, it usually goes to 5 or 7. And this one's 6. So there are 6 connection points, and I've read through 5 of them. Affirmation, where you let the youth know that their feelings matter. Um, oh, oh no, affirmation. Ah, shoot, I'm stuck on the last one. The word for the last one. The second one is where you let them know that uh, you'll love them no matter what. Acceptance. It's affirmation. Acceptance, where you let them know that they matter no matter what, and they do. Appreciation is where you let them know that what they do matters, uh, even though it won't change how you feel about them. Uh, but it's kind of like appreciating the good things they do. And there's affection, where you show them love, either your love for other people or your love for them, let them know that they're loved. And then there's availability, where you uh, you show them that you love them by making yourself available to them. Uh, and then the book kind of says that you can do all the other 4 things before it, and not have availability, and they might not accept it very well. They're like, okay, you say all this stuff, but you're not really here for me ever. So it's kind of empty. And they reference 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If you have not love, then and you do all this stuff, then your voice is like a clanging gong or cymbals. It's empty. It's just noise. Doesn't mean anything. Uh, so I think that's probably the biggest problem that I have, is just being available for people, letting them know that I'm prepared to spend time with them, however they need me to. Sorry, it just seems like I must be tired. And the next point, I really like the start of the chapter, and the title of the next chapter is accountability. I know a lot about accountability because I've read other books. Accountability is where you hold them to what they say. You make sure that they are staying true to themselves and true to the commitments that they have made. And that should be a good chapter to go through. And then after that should be more of the practical doing of the things. So I'll be really interested in that. Okay. Back to us talking about at the beginning, talking about the sort of plans for the future, which I've been planning this ever since I got out of college. When I went to college, I went to UTA, and I started for an architecture degree, and I was there for 5 years with a little break, like a semester or 2. I just took off so that I could. It was after I completed my core, and I needed to get into the a full major program. It's where, for architecture, it's where you actually declare. And one of the things I had to do was retake a class. And really have to retake it all. I really had to do is retake a test because the teacher lost one of my final tests that they needed to prove that I got an A in class. And I did get an A in class the first time, and I got an A in class the second time. It was just as easy both times. I retook it just because I thought that would be easier. And it was probably pretty stupid just to do it that way. But I took a semester or two, I forget, off in between that. And one of the reasons I did is because my parents were paying for college and they sort of needed a little break in payments. So yeah, then I spent another couple of years, and I got to the point where I had like 4 classes left to take, 4 or 5 classes left to take before I could graduate with a Bachelor's of Architecture, which would have been really a really huge accomplishment. It would have been great. But there was one class I couldn't get through, and it wasn't just the class really. I mean, I probably could have gone through every class after if I'd gone through this one. But this one class I took with 3 different teachers. The first time I took it with Boswell, who no longer works there. Like every year I went to the school, they said Boswell is going to retire. He was like he was supposed to be one of the most difficult teachers. And he wasn't really all that difficult when I took him, but I get the feeling that I might have been able to get a grade that would let me continue. I didn't actually fail the class. The first time I got a D, which isn't failing, it's just not enough to continue progression. So I had to retake it, and the next time I dropped because I couldn't commit to it. I was more interested in Chi Alpha, what I'm going to be talking about in more detail. Chi Alpha is a Christian organization on college campuses. It stands for Christou Apostoloi, which is Christ's Ambassadors. It's in, I don't remember what passage it is. It's probably on one of the shirts I have. It's in 2 Corinthians, I think. 2 Corinthians 5:20 it should be. I think. It's almost definitely 2 Corinthians 5:20, where it says that we're supposed to be ambassadors for Christ. Christou Apostoloi, like the Greek. And that's where we get the XA, Chi Alpha, is what it's called. And what the organization does is it is organized by the Assemblies of God for trained adults to train students to be ambassadors for Christ to other students. I kind of think of it like a youth group for college kids. And it's kind of what it is. It's deeper than most youth groups, but it's kind of like what most youth groups should be, I always thought. But I got real into Chi Alpha, more of a leadership role in the latter half of my college career. And I was more interested in Chi Alpha than I was interested in architecture. Just having more fun with Chi Alpha, and I was committing more of my time and resources to Chi Alpha. And I'm kind of really sorry for my parents that I did all of that expensive architecture stuff and I just got a general studies degree, which means that my last semester, like the semester after I dropped the class I couldn't pass the second time, I took 4 classes, and they were all a little different, but they allowed me to uh, kind of minor in 3 disciplines, which gave me general studies. Um, and the disciplines were uh, art, social, art, social science, and physical science. I had taken several. I had a couple of physics classes from high school, and I had taken other physics classes because they were required. So I had physics, or I had physical sciences in the bag. I only had to take a couple of classes like astronomy and geology uh, to fill those out, and those are mostly classes for teachers, just basic stuff that people going to a teaching degree have to take. So it was super easy to do those. And I think I had one psychology class, and I had taken several psychology classes for my electives because I like psychology. So that's how I got social sciences, and architecture is almost all art classes. So art was easy. And I got a general studies degree, a Bachelor of Science in General Studies. But I got a degree um, from a good college, and I learned, uh, even if I learned more about life than I did actual information. I did learn a lot of stuff that I still remember, but I'm kind of like off to the side because I want to talk about Chi Alpha. Um, it it's one of the largest groups for sending missionaries worldwide. Assemblies of God sends a lot of missionaries out, and a lot of them come through the Chi Alpha program because they uh, they do mission trips things, and then the Chi Alpha leaders lead mission trips, and they also uh, open the door for people to become missionaries pretty easily. It's kind of amazing doing that because missions is a really big deal. Um, Myself, I have always kind of figured that going out across the world was something I would do eventually. But I've always been more interested in the problem at home, which is why I like Chi Alpha so much because it's missions, it's domestic missions, uh, campus